Welcome to Biochemistry DSP channel. Today I'll be discussing about TCA cycle. The other names for TCA cycle is it's citric acid cycle. It's called Krebs cycle. TCA, the full form of TCA is tricarboxylic acid cycle. The citric acid cycle or Krebs cycle is a series of reaction in mitochondria that oxidize acetyl-CoA and reduce coenzymes that upon reoxidations are linked to form ATP. It's a final common pathway for the aerobic oxidation of carbohydrate, lipid and protein because glucose, fatty acid and most amino acids are metabolized to acetyl-CoA or intermediates of the cycle. It also has a central role in gluconeogenesis, lipogenesis and in the interconversion of amino acids. A liver is the major site for uh, TCA cycle and the major site will be mitochondria. Okay, TCA cycle occurs in mitochondria and the tissues involved will be it almost in all tissues TCA cycle will take place, but liver is the only tissue in which uh, all occur to a significant extent. Sir Hans Adolf Krebs is a biochemist born in Germany. He discovered this Krebs cycle in the year 1937 and he was awarded Nobel Prize in the year 1953. TCA cycle reactions takes place in mitochondria where oxygen is utilized to generate ATP by oxidative phosphorylation. It is amphibolic. Amphibolic means it is both catabolic and anabolic. It's a final common pathway for the oxidation of carbohydrate, lipid and protein as well as for synthesize many uh, compounds. It will be acting as an anabolic pathway. The cycle is involved in the aerobic catabolism of carbohydrate, lipids and amino acid. The intermediates of cycles are the starting points for many anabolic reactions. It yields energy in the form of either ATP or GTP. It yields reducing power in the form of NADH2 and FADH2. So the first step, okay, is the conversion of during glycolysis, the end product is pyruvate. This pyruvate, in the presence of the enzyme pyruvate dehydrogenase multi-enzyme complex, it has been converted into acetyl-CoA. I have given a separate video for this oxidative decarboxylation of pyruvate. You can watch that. So now I'll just discuss how this pyruvate is converted into acetyl-CoA. So pyruvate with the help of coenzyme A and NAD plus and TPP, lipoic acid and FAD, with the help of the multi-enzyme complex pyruvate dehydrogenase complex, it will be converted into acetyl-CoA with the liberation of carbon dioxide. So this acetyl-CoA will enter the TCA cycle. So two molecules of pyruvate, as we got two molecules of pyruvate from glycolysis, these two molecules of pyruvate will in turn give rise to two molecules of acetyl-CoA. So this is the pathway. So this TCA cycle has got 8 reactions in it. The first step is condensation reaction of pyruvate. Okay, that is the formation of pyruvate. Then the first step in TCA cycle is this condensation of acetyl-CoA with oxaloacetate with the help of the enzyme citrate synthase. Okay, this is the first step. Acetyl-CoA condense with oxaloacetate in the presence of the enzyme citrate synthase to form citrate. So in the presence of this citrate synthase, acetyl-CoA will condense with oxaloacetate to yield citric acid. Hence the name, it is called tricarboxylic acid or citric acid cycle or Krebs cycle. The first product is a 3-carbon compound citrate. Hence the name, it is citric acid cycle, a tricarboxylic acid. The enzyme citrate synthase is allosterically regulatory enzyme. It is a irreversible reaction. Second step is uh, citrate is isomerized to form isocitrate in the presence of the enzyme aconitase. Okay, this is also a reversible reaction. This aconitase, this enzyme aconitase is inhibited by a compound called fluoroacetate. So fluoroacetate is an inhibitor of this aconitase enzyme. So the second step is conversion of the citrate into isocitrate with the help of the enzyme called as aconitase. The intermediate product will be cis aconitate. Third step is this isocitrate will undergo dehydrogenation as well as decarboxylation. Okay, isocitrate will undergo dehydrogenation as well as decarboxylation to form alpha ketoglutarate. So CO2 is released as a result of decarboxylation, and it will also undergo dehydrogenation reaction with the involvement of NAD+. Okay, so NAD+ will be converted into NADH plus H plus. This NADH will enter electron transport chain to produce 3 molecules of ATP. Approximately we are saying 3 molecules of ATP. It is exactly means it is 2.5 molecules of ATP will be generated in this step. Since two molecules of acetyl-CoA we are getting, everything will be accounted for 2. Okay, so 2 into 2.5 it is 5 ATPs. If you are calculating as 3 means 2 into 3, 6 ATPs will be generated in this reaction for the conversion of isocitrate into alpha ketoglutarate with the help of the enzyme isocitrate dehydrogenase. Next step is this in the presence of the enzyme alpha ketoglutarate dehydrogenase. This alpha ketoglutarate dehydrogenase is an enzyme which is similar to that of this pyruvate dehydrogenase enzyme complex. So it is also having 3 enzymes embedded in it, and it will also require 5 coenzymes as that of this pyruvate dehydrogenase complex, multi-enzyme complex, and in turn it will convert this again oxidative decarboxylation reaction which converts alpha ketoglutarate into succinyl CoA with the liberation of this CO2. So in the presence of this enzyme alpha ketoglutarate dehydrogenase complex, oxidative decarboxylation of alpha ketoglutarate will yield succinyl CoA. It will also utilize the same 5 coenzymes like TPP, FAD, lipoic acid coenzyme A and NAD+. This reaction is irreversible, and it will also enter into mitochondrial electron transport chain to produce 3 ATPs. Here NAD plus is converted into NADH plus H plus. Again it is also will produce ATP, energetic step. Then in the next reaction succinyl CoA, okay, which is this succinyl CoA is having a high energy thioester bond which will be converted into succinate in the presence of the enzyme succinyl CoA synthetase. It's also called as succinate thiokinase. So during this reaction, the high energy thioester bond of succinyl CoA will be utilized to convert GDP into GTP. Okay, here GDP will be converted into GTP. This phosphorylation of GDP to GTP is also an example for substrate level phosphorylation step. Okay, conversion of this succinyl CoA to succinate in the presence of the enzyme succinyl CoA synthetase. So here GDP will be phosphorylated into GTP with the help of this succinyl. So succinyl CoA. So hence it's also an example for substrate level phosphorylation step. And the net gain for this conversion of GDP to GTP will be 1 ATP. Okay, so it will liberate 1 ATP since 2 molecules 2 into 1 it is 2 ATPs in this step you will get. Okay, then again next step succinate will be oxidized into fumarate with the help of the enzyme succinate dehydrogenase. Okay, so succinate is oxidized into fumarate with the help of succinate dehydrogenase. This succinate dehydrogenase will utilize FAD as coenzyme. So FAD, here FAD will be converted into FADH2. Again this FADH2 will enter electron transport chain to produce 1.5 molecules of ATP. Approximate means it is 2 molecules of ATP you will get from this, it will be released from this step. Since 2 molecules, 2 into 2 it's 4. Okay. Again this step is reversible reaction. This enzyme succinate dehydrogenase will be inhibited by malonate. So here there are 2 inhibitors. One inhibitor is fluoroacetate which will inhibit this step. aconitase reaction step. Okay, so aconitase will be inhibited by fluoroacetate. Similarly, malonate will inhibit the enzyme succinate dehydrogenase. Next, fumarate will be hydrated to malate. Okay, we have to add water molecule. This fumarate will be hydrated into malate with the help of the enzyme fumarase. uh, this is irreversible reaction. And the last step, eighth reaction, totally 8 steps. The eighth step is conversion of this malate into, once again, into oxaloacetate. So the starting material is oxaloacetate condensing with acetyl CoA, and again we got back this oxaloacetate, hence the name it is cycle, it's not pathway. Okay, for all other carbohydrate metabolic reactions will be called as pathway: glycolytic pathway, glycogen metabolism, then gluconeogenesis pathway. Like this pathway we'll call. Whereas this starting material is oxaloacetate and the ending material is also oxaloacetate, we have to call it as a cycle, TCA cycle. Okay. So here malate in the presence of the enzyme malate dehydrogenase, we're using NAD plus giving NADH plus H plus, it will be converted into oxaloacetate. Again, this NADH will enter electron transport chain to generate 3 ATPs. Okay, so there are so many ATP generating steps are here. So from this pyruvate conversion to acetyl CoA, again NAD plus is utilized to convert NADH plus H plus. So here everything is 2 molecules. For 1 molecule means it is 1 into 3, it is 3 ATP. Here also in isocitrate conversion to alpha ketoglutarate, you got NADH plus H plus. So again it will release 3 ATPs. Then here also you will get 3 ATPs for converting alpha ketoglutarate to succinyl CoA. And in this substrate level phosphorylation, for any substrate level phosphorylation, 1 ATP will be generated. So for this conversion of GDP to GTP, you will get 1 ATP. Then again succinate dehydrogenase, which will use FAD as the coenzyme. So here FAD is converted into FADH2. For each FAD oxidizing to through electron transport chain, it will release 2 ATPs approximately. Then the final step, malate conversion to oxaloacetate, also utilize NAD plus converting into NADH plus H plus, which will also enter electron transport chain to produce 3 ATPs. So totally if you calculate the ATPs, 3 plus 3 it is 6, 6 plus 1 7, 7 plus 2 9, 9 plus 3 12. So for oxidizing one molecule of acetyl CoA, you will get 12 ATPs. Okay. For oxidizing one molecule of acetyl CoA through TCA cycle, you will generate 12 ATPs. Since two molecules are generated from this pyruvate, 12 into 2, 24 ATPs will be generated totally. Okay. So two molecules of acetyl CoA, so 24 ATPs for the conversion of this pyruvate to acetyl CoA. Okay, here also two molecules of pyruvate. So two molecules of pyruvate is converted into acetyl CoA. So here also you'll get plus 6 ATPs. So 24 plus 6, 30 ATPs are generated for converting pyruvate to for oxidation of this pyruvate via TCA cycle. 30 ATPs are generated. For glycolytic pathway, aerobic glycolytic pathway, you got 8 ATPs. So 30 plus 8, it is 38 ATPs. So for complete oxidation of one molecule of glucose, okay, complete oxidation of one molecule of glucose means through glycolysis, the end product is pyruvate. Again, this pyruvate is entering TCA cycle to be converted into water plus CO2. That is the final oxidation. So totally for oxidizing a single molecule of glucose, how many ATPs are generated? 38 ATPs are generated. Through TCA cycle, this 2 acetyl CoA will liberate 24 ATPs. For the conversion of this pyruvate to acetyl CoA, 6 ATPs. So 24 plus 6, it is 30 ATPs. Already we got for the conversion of glucose to pyruvate, we got 8 ATPs. So 30 plus 8, it is 38 ATPs. Okay, this is how we have to calculate the energetics. So this is the summary of this energetics what we have got. Okay, for acetyl CoA, for each acetyl CoA through TCA cycle, these are the steps where energy is generated. Okay, ATP is generated in all these steps, totally giving 12 ATPs. Since two molecules are got, 12 into 2, it is 24 ATPs. For the conversion of pyruvate to acetyl CoA, you will get 3 ATPs for single molecule. Since it is two molecule, 3 into 2, it is 6. So 24 plus 6, it is 30 ATPs. Okay. So this is the energetics of TCA cycle. Then how this TCA cycle is regulated means it is regulated through allosteric modulators and covalent modification of enzymes and supply of acetyl-CoA. Okay, so these will control the TCA cycle pathway. The main three regulatory enzymes are citrate synthase, isocitrate dehydrogenase, and alpha ketoglutarate dehydrogenase. These are the main key enzymes which will regulate citric acid cycle. This citrate synthase is allosterically inhibited by, okay, it will be allosterically inhibited means feedback inhibition. The product itself, the excess of product formed itself will go and inhibit the enzyme. So NADH, excess of NADH, excess amount of energy ATP or succinyl CoA, no, it and the excess product of the citrate, all this will go and inhibit the enzyme citrate synthase. So once we get enough amount of product, no, the same products itself will go and inhibit the enzyme. That type of inhibition is called as feedback inhibition or allosteric inhibition. Then is isocitrate dehydrogenase also will be inhibited by ADP. If excess of ADP is present means it will go and modulate this, it will inhibit isocitrate dehydrogenase, whereas NADH and ATP, if they are present in excess amount means it will act as negative stimulator for this isocitrate dehydrogenase. Okay, uh, alpha ketoglutarate dehydrogenase will be inhibited by excess of ATP, succinyl CoA, and NADH. So this is how the enzymes will be regulated. Okay, so citrate synthase will be inhibited by NADH, ATP, succinyl CoA, and citrate. Isocitrate dehydrogenase will be inhibited by NADH and the excess of NADH and ATP, whereas it will be activated by ADP. Then alpha ketoglutarate dehydrogenase will be inhibited by ATP, succinyl CoA, and NADH. So this is how TCA cycle will be regulated. These are the inhibitors. Okay, how will pyruvate to acetyl CoA, it will be inhibited by ATP, acetyl CoA, and NADH. Then this step, oxaloacetate to citrate conversion, the enzyme citrate synthase will be inhibited by NADH, ATP, succinyl CoA, and citrate. Isocitrate dehydrogenase will be inhibited by ATP and NADH, whereas activated by ADP. Alpha ketoglutarate dehydrogenase enzyme will be inhibited by ATP, succinyl CoA, and NADH. This is how the TCA cycle will be regulated. Okay, the key enzymes are citrate synthase, isocitrate dehydrogenase, alpha ketoglutarate dehydrogenase. These are the three key enzymes which will regulate the TCA cycle pathway. Thank you. Thank you for watching this video. Subscribe and support the channel Biochemistry DSP.